Hey, great to be with you again today. I wanted to talk to you today about your prayer life. How's that looking? You know, we all go through spurts where, we're all in on prayer and we know, what we want to say to God and how we have this relationship with Him. And sometimes we feel like we're as close as this, right? We're right there with Him. We can feel like His breath. Like we can feel His presence. And then there's other times when, man, it's just like, whew, I feel like my words are bouncing off the roof and falling right back down into my face. And I feel distant from God, and I don't have like this intimate relationship. And sometimes I feel like my prayers were more, I don't know, were more meaningful to me when I was a little kid. You know, when I would get in bed and say my prayers, and I'd say, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. God bless mom and dad and grandparents and brothers and sisters and the cat and the dog and the next door neighbor and that pretty girl that lives down the street, right? And all that stuff. And then you go to sleep. And sometimes now, don't you get in bed and you say, hey, God, and thanks for another day. And, can you be with mom? And can you be with me? And the next thing you know, right, you're waking up 7 hours later. And you're like, oh, my gosh, did I pray? Did I even get through that last night? Listen, I want to tell you something. Don't feel bad, all right? Yeah, readjust. Try to get yourself straightened out and get a prayer time together. But don't beat yourself up. Jesus, on his probably most excruciating night, the night he gets arrested, he goes up on the Mount of Olives, and he takes Peter, James, and John with him, and he's like, hey, man, I need you guys to pray. Stand, watch, and pray. And he goes off by himself, and he's like, God, listen, if this cup could pass from me, let it pass from me, because this is too much, man. I don't want to do this. But not my will, your will. And he goes back and he gets back up, and Peter, James, and John, they're sleeping. And he's like, man, can't you guys stay awake for 1 hour and pray with me? And he goes off by himself again. He goes back a little bit, and they've fallen asleep again. And he's like, try to stay awake, man. Keep praying. And he goes back a third time and prays and comes back. And don't you know, these three guys they're passed out again. They're just beat. They're exhausted. Whether we are the same way as Peter, James, and John, right? Our lives are hectic. We get worn out. We get beat up. But don't you know that Jesus, he didn't abandon them because they couldn't stay awake that night? These three guys were three of the greatest disciples who spread the word of Jesus all around the world, and they became like pillars of the faith. We are pillars of the faith even now. Even in our weakest moments, when we fall asleep, when our prayer life doesn't seem all that great, God does not abandon us. He does not turn His back on us. He's right there. All we need to do is talk to Him. May God continue to pour out His grace, mercy, and blessings on each and every one of us. Until we get to meet again, amen? Amen.